Hey everybody, it's Dr. Karen, and I wanted to take just a couple minutes and share what you can expect on this page. So I'm just going to give my camera a little bit. There we go. I think we're rolling. So again, I am Dr. Karen Dudek-Brannan, and I wanted to just invite you to sign up for one of my free resources that is going to help your kids become more independent and organized and self sufficient. So, I also wanted to just share a little bit about this page, why I've created it, and what you can expect here. So, the past few years, I have been working on creating resources for educators like speech pathologists, teachers who work with kids, mostly with kids with disabilities, but also just in general work with children ranging from kindergarten through 12th grade to build their communication skills, to help them do better in school and social situations so that they can be prepared for life. And what I've started to realize is that while I was really focusing on improving things like reading comprehension and spelling and some of those academic skills, there were a lot of other skills that were preventing these particular students that my clients were working with who that they needed in order to be successful. And I also have been recently getting a lot of requests from parents that want to help their kids just do better in school, to help them function better in their day-to-day lives. And the things that you would do as a practitioner, whether you're a therapist working with a child in a therapy session, are a lot different than what a parent would want to be doing for their child, just to raise them to be independent and successful. So that's why I created this page, to really focus on that, to help kids to become, to help parents who are wanting to help their kids become more organized, more independent, more disciplined, so that they can do better in school, so that they can show more resilience with challenging activity, so that they can grow as a person, and so that they can eventually be independent, successful adults. So I wanted to share this first free resource that I have. It's an ebook that walks through a set of skills known as executive functions. So when I have been talking to parents about some of the things that they're working through with their kids, this is a common theme that has come up. So a lot of times they will say things like, I have to tell my kids a million times before they clean their room, or they go take a shower, or these simple day-to-day tasks that they should be able to do. They're intelligent, they're smart. I could do these things when I was their age. Maybe their siblings or their peers can do these things, but certain day-to-day things that um, these parents think they should be able to handle this, for whatever reason, they're not getting done. Whether the child is refusing to do them, whether they are dawdling, whether they start and then stop, or they go to clean their room and they say it's done, but then you go in there and it's still a mess. Or even things like homework. Something that's really common is that kids will either need you to hold their hand the entire way through, which has really become apparent this year because a lot of kids are having to be more independent with remote learning, but was an issue before as well. So that some kids, they just need you to be sitting there with them, telling them the next step instead of being able to be independent. Or maybe they just refuse to get started on their work, and you're sitting there for an hour trying to convince them to get started on their homework that could have taken them 15, 20 minutes, and you've just, everybody's frustrated. So or other things where maybe it might be something simple like personal hygiene, taking a shower, being able to independently get themselves ready in the morning, or make themselves a meal. Things that you would expect kids to be making progress on, depending on their age, that you would expect, that they should be starting to be more independent. And maybe you're noticing that, your child doesn't have the stamina, gets easily distracted, tends to avoid or procrastinate, or maybe they do it but it's not done well, and you're thinking, why don't they pay attention to all these little details, or why aren't they putting forth a good effort? And maybe you've tried things like reinforcements, planners, sitting there with them and walking them through it, A lot of things. Usually parents that come to reach out to me have tried a lot of different things. So the thing is that all of these things, they seem kind of separate, because sometimes it's like, is it a school issue? Is it a behavior issue? Is it a motivation issue? Do they just not care? A lot of these things can be a sign that there is an executive functioning issue. So in this free guide, I walk through exactly what that is, what the symptoms are, and then what it looks like to have strong executive functions, and what the specific executive functions are, so that you can get an idea of, is this something that I could start working on with my child? Is this something that I can really look into? Because the thing is that understanding what's going on and where you can focus and what skills aren't there can help you to figure out how to help. And what a lot of people realize, and what you will realize as well once you read the guide, is that something that appears to be, the kid just not being motivated, or just refusing, or maybe they're even starting to think that they're not very smart, or maybe, they're really intelligent, but for some reason their grades are just not showing it, and they're just starting to not like school. And you're starting to worry about what's going to happen to them in the future. Are they going to be okay? Are they going to have a good life? A lot of those things are a very specific set of skills that you can work on, that can really have a global impact on your life if you don't address them. But the important thing is that it's something that you can address. It doesn't mean that your child isn't intelligent, that they're not motivated, that they don't care. It simply means that these are a set of skills that they might not have yet, that you can work on and improve, that can really improve a lot of their ability to function. And the thing is that a lot of times, if you address issues with executive functioning and you teach them to work through some of these tasks, and their other skills improve. So for example, let's say that your child doesn't like to do their writing assignments. Well, if they're never doing their writing assignments, they're not going to get good at writing, or other homework assignments. They're not practicing those skills because maybe they're overwhelmed by the task. Maybe they don't know the steps, so they're not practicing that skill. So they're struggling with the organization and the executive functioning, but they're also not practicing the skills that's going to make them a better writer. So sometimes when you address this, some of those other things can start to fall in place, because they can actually get through their tasks and put forth a good effort and not feel as overwhelmed, and do them well, get to work on time without you having to handhold and stress yourself out. So this can be a really big shift that a lot of people can make when they start working on this. So on this page, I'm going to be talking about all the different types of executive functioning, ways that you can help your child be more motivated to do things like homework or chores, so that they can be independent and you don't have to do as much work on your own. You can just know that you're going to wake up and they're going to, be already starting to get themselves ready. They're going to be more independent. It's going to be less work for you. And you're going to have that peace of mind that, all right, they're building these skills. They're on the right path. They're progressing how they should be. And also, you'll be able to do it without yelling and punishment and having to bribe them to do all sorts of different things. They're going to be able to do it more independently once you build these skills. And also, they are going to, when you have strong executive functioning skills, a lot of those changes in routines and being able to adapt and problem solve within the moment of a situation, like something is different that you were expecting it to be this way. You were expecting these things to happen, and whoops, there was an interruption to our routine, and now we're going to have to do it this way. If you have kids who sometimes are thrown off by that, maybe don't know how to deal with that, maybe they get emotional and frustrated and shut down, this is also going to help with that overwhelm during those types of things. So if any of these things sound familiar, or if you're maybe not sure if this is, if your child needs to work on executive functioning, I can tell you this guide will give you a lot of clarity. And even if your child is not diagnosed with a specific disability, a lot of people can benefit from work on executive functioning skills. Even people who are pretty organized already, it can make them even more organized. It's particularly relevant for people who do have a diagnosed disability like autism or ADHD or learning disabilities, other different neurological conditions. So maybe if they have a genetic disorder, if they have had a traumatic brain injury or other neurological event, that can impact executive functioning skills. But the important thing is that while those diagnoses might put them at risk for executive functioning issues, it might be something that you could work on regardless. So I invite you to sign up for my free guide. Again, it is called Raising Organized, Motivated, Self-Sufficient Kids with Executive Functioning. I've got a link in the description so you can sign up for it. When you sign up for that, you'll also be put on my email list so you'll know when I go live on this page and when I publish different resources or when I have different things available. So that guide will just be sent to you via email. It's a free download. So thank you so much for checking this out, and just click that link to sign up for the free guide.